Hey guys, we're the Sideline sisters. We're here with Tucker Hobart and Jackson Lange, and they are part of the 305K podcast.
Hey, how's it going? We're so happy to be here. We host a podcast usually once or twice a week, where we break down all F1 news and get everyone prepared for the races over the weekend. So we're really happy to be here. We have personal connections to the Sideline Sisters. Maddie, I went to Jackson and I were at New York Times summer program with her, and it's just really great to see you guys. We've been following all that you do. It's been great stuff. So we're so happy to be here.
Cute. Okay, so first question is, what made you guys start this podcast?
Tucker, it was your idea,
Yeah,
so
so
you
I
got it.
was I was doing a program this summer, and it was like a kind of a sports business class. And there was a woman who came in and was doing a sort of presentation one of the days. And she was going around the room, kind of traditional stuff where she was like, "Oh, what do you guys want to do in sports?" And I had said, I want to work in like sports journalism or like visual media. And she kind of just, got all excited. And she was like, "You know what? You can start that whenever you want. Like you can get yourself out there now because of the internet. Like start a podcast, start whatever." And everyone was kind of like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And in the back of my mind, I was like, "That's a great idea." And I remember having kind of an epiphany about it. And I texted Jackson like later that day, and I was like, we should start a podcast because I remember Jackson had a lot of conversations about F1. Um, And I didn't even think about the fact, we're like states away from each other. Like we have all kinds of school. He's a senior, I'm a junior, whatever. And I kind of just texted him and he was like, "Sounds great." So we started because of
Kind of similar to how we started.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
that.
all we're all across states, man. It's like Camille and Sabrina, which I mean they live in the same state, but it's like not.
Like
You
still
guys
far.
aren't.
Like,
Yeah, it's so far.
We're
So
still like
Mhm.
far. Like Camille's like an hour away
Oh,
from
yeah.
me. So it's like if we
Yeah,
really wanted to see each other, like we would have to set it up. Like we have to meet each other
yeah,
halfway. So it's like
yeah. Well, the crazy thing to
still,
me about you guys is that like you're completely across time zones.
oh yeah.
Like you guys have West Coast, East Coast. That's kind of incredible.
It's
yeah.
literally three versus one because me, Matea, and Camille
We're all
are
on
on the
East
east and then
Coast.
Maddie's on the west. So it's
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
so hard in terms of like I guess it's
scheduling
like
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, of
because
course.
it's
And
like
especially if you're doing like long form stuff.
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But we thank Maddie for always.
Waking up at 8 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
yeah, that's funny. 'Cause that's how like we kind of all connected too. Just like
hmm
old
Well, and you
friends.
guys were also at a summer program together, right? You were
Yeah,
at Syracuse.
Syracuse,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty incredible. Like finding your people like that. I know you guys post about that a lot. Like, it's important that, you find the people that you want to hang out with, but like four people starting social media together from completely different backgrounds is pretty unbelievable.
Thank you. Yeah. It's like, and I feel like that's why like these programs are so cool and I guess like very valuable because it's like so much can like evolve out of it. Because like who would have known that like we would have made this like going into Syracuse, like
Mhm.
I was flipping
This
out. I
was
was
never
like,
the goal, but
it was never
it
the goal. Like it
like
was
but
so
it happened.
unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally
hmm
going into the summer program, I was like literally so nervous. I was like, I'm like convinced I was not gonna make any friends, but then like here we are now. So it's like I feel like those programs are so valuable, and I think like especially with like Syracuse is like it's Syracuse, so it's like hearing like
Yeah.
I guess like the information you told us too is like yeah, like we want to apply this to something else because like you said before too, like you literally can start whenever, and I think that really was like the
Yeah.
goal, like just start now, and then like once the time actually comes, like when you're in the
hmm
professional, it's like you know what you're doing, like you've had this so much
Yeah.
experience before. It's like it's so cool. I think
I
it's so.
also think it's so important because we've learned from so many amazing teachers. Like
Mhm.
at least for me, like we learned from Liz and Tyler at New York Times, and
hmm
then yeah, and then we learned from Matt Park and Stomsky, and just learning values from those teachers is just really important.
Matt Park is a king.
Yeah.
I know. I just saw a video of him right before this interview, as a matter of fact.
So what,
You know
hmm
what?
Coach Brown?
Yeah, he just like here's a funny part. He just pops up on my Instagram feed. Like I don't understand. Like so like so Matt Park is the voice of the Orange. So like he does like the play-by-play. I'm pretty sure just on the radio. I don't think he does it on TV.
No, yeah, he's just
No,
reading
yes.
it.
Yeah, so like he does the play-by-play for Syracuse football and Syracuse basketball. And I'm telling you, this man, you know, had some valuable information. Yo,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, because after the program, I started following a lot of like Syracuse sports and stuff. I'm not even lying. That man shows up on my Instagram daily, and I'm like, where are you coming from? Like he
I was like scrolling like the Instagram stories, and I was just like, oh, it's Matt Park.
I know, but like it just proves that like you're actually like it's actually cool like you're actually learning from people that work in the industry. I think that's also just to add on the best part about these programs too. Because like you're
Yeah,
actually
Yeah.
like
I felt like in New York Times, we also like the people that came in to speak to us, definitely like seeing them come from the sports media field and like kind of sports journalism and stuff was like, it was really interesting to see like this is what it can be like in a way. And I'm sure you guys probably felt that with
oh
some of the
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool like hearing the firsthand experience too. Like especially like even like the more like professional stories, like the funny stories too, because like I literally one of our professors, Professor Stomsky, Camille, like Maddie and Mateo,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Is it the Shaq
she
story?
literally almost got fired because she was trying to film a video of Shaq and he ran through Maddie Figueroa.
Figueroa.
Yeah. And like he almost got hit by traffic and she was convinced she was gonna get fired as she was filming him. They were filming like a hype video. But
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't know. Hearing those stories is just like so cool because like so many random things can happen. I don't know. But yeah. And that's why I
It's
think
also cool because it's like places, at least for me, like that was like a place
yeah,
I
it's
know.
like personal for you too, because like you know those places, which is
Yeah. And I
so
know
cool.
Figueroa, and like I would not want to
Run through
Shaq
it.
going the opposite way. Like that's right outside Crypto, which is where the Lakers live.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's chaotic, I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, oh, that would have been rough if that went the wrong way. Because clearly nothing happened because he's still alive.
Yeah.
So
Bounce to the next question.
yeah.
So you talked about how you guys kind of started up this podcast, but how did you get interested specifically in F1? Maybe in comparison to other sports, or like how did that
So
start?
me personally, I had a friend that was into it, and I kind of took to what a lot of F1 fans now do and watch Drive to Survive on Netflix, which is kind of how a lot of Americans have gotten into the sport. And because of that, like documentary on Netflix, like F1 is like gone. I don't even know what the percentage is, but has gone way up viewership wise in the United States. And I just got hooked instantly watching, it, and I was like, I need to watch more of this. And I ended up watching a bunch of races. I watched the 2023 season, which was, as Tucker knows,
Not
very
the best
boring.
one you can get into. Yeah.
It was one of the worst years you could start watching Formula One, but it was. I mean, I love talking about it, which is why I love
Yeah.
doing the podcast with them. But I watch Drive to Survive is kind of the main thing. Tucker,
Yeah.
yourself.
I was pretty much the same way. It's cliche and it's bad to admit now. It's kind of a taboo thing among a lot of F1 fans is like, Drive to Survive fan. It's like a kind of an insult almost. But I did write an article about it. There are statistics like I think around over 50% of American F1 fans say that they do watch the show in some capacity. And it's a really good entryway. And I was never a car racing guy. I was never that kind of thing. Um, but the show's really well produced. Even in seasons where it's not a very interesting F1 year, they have like a lot of this. It's really cool to see behind the scenes. And I know that Netflix now does a lot of those with like golf and Tour de France. But the F1 show was kind of the first one that really caught on. And from there, I watched the first episode about 2 weeks before the start of the season a couple years ago. And I pretty much watched the entire season, like every single race that I could that year because it hooked on that quickly for me. And obviously, it's brought us here to talking about it every week, which is pretty great.
Yeah, I feel like F1 is very popular. Like, I feel like as someone that follows sports and like has friends who like enjoy sports too, it's like I feel like F1 is like something that comes up very often. And like I've always, me personally, I've always wanted to get into it, but like I didn't like really like know how it works. Like, could you guys like explain like the main idea of it, like how like F1 like really works, I guess?
Tucker, you want it?
Yeah. So, well, the interesting thing about F1, and it is kind of hard sport to get into, particularly because of the timing, excuse me. A lot of these races are European timing based. So there's a lot of, I wake up at like 8 a.m. to watch a race on the weekend. It is what it is. That kind of comes second to getting into the sport. The great thing is that this weekend, tomorrow, they're racing in Texas and the race starts at about 5 p.m., I believe, but it's prime. It's pretty good time to watch. I would recommend the Netflix show because it's really interesting. It's on your own time. It's great to watch. The main idea about F1 is that it's car racing. And I think that's one of the best things about the sport is that it's kind of a straightforward thing to watch. There are a lot of levels of car racing, so it's not necessarily like cut and dry what it is, but it's start to finish. You want to finish in first. The big thing about F1 that I think confuses people when they get into it is kind of pit stop rules. And this is true for most racing series, but every F1 race, you're required to stop at least once and use two different kinds of tires. Some races, you see a lot of people stopping twice. Sometimes a lot of people stop once. But the main point is that it's not start to finish, you're running on the same set of tires. There is variability through the order and through strategy because of that. So sometimes you'll see a guy in fourth place, and really, in aggregate, he's probably in first because the three guys above him still need to stop and change their tires. That's the big confusing part that I think that I need to figure out when I first start watching.
Yeah.
And didn't they just sign like a contract yesterday with like
Apple TV, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I don't know what the number is, but they bought the streaming rights
160
from
million.
they
year.
bought the streaming rights from ESPN. I think it's gonna actually help me out because I'm not gonna have to pay for F1 TV Pro, which is what I have to buy every year to watch like all the practices, all the qualifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big contract, and it makes sense that they're signing this giant deal with, like, honestly, Apple TV has been just big in the streaming industry. I feel like as of the past couple years, they're bringing out great TV shows, and it's been rumored for a while that they were going to sign, but it makes sense they like announce the deal whenever they're in the USA.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of want to.
Oh, you want to go? You go.
Yeah, wait. So you mentioned something about having to like kind of like purchase some sort of network to kind of watch all these
I know what you're gonna say. I was gonna say
practices and games. So I personally can kind of relate to that. So I'm a huge like WNBA fan, and like obviously we kind of know that like mostly women's sports, but like I guess like I could talk mostly about WNBA is like I have to buy a league pass to watch most of the games. So I'm wondering like what your opinion is on like I guess like sports and networks like not working together to like produce media that like people would actually watch. Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
get the viewership from it. So
I
like,
think I really do not like how like sports have been streamed recently. I feel like I'm paying so much money just a month for YouTube TV just to where I can watch like football, ESPN, like just the basic things. And then you're right. If I wanted to watch like a hockey game, you have to get like Disney Plus basically and have like the Disney bundle just so you can watch like any hockey game.
I can relate to this.
no,
So-
I have the Disney bundle and I still have to buy like other networks just to watch certain things. So like
It just you have to spend so much money to like be able to watch like your one team. If you necessarily like for the NFL, you might need Prime, Peacock, YouTube TV, ESPN, and that's just to watch like their games. And it's just I don't know. I really don't
It's
like the way it's set up.
frustrating.
They make you go through so many holes just to be able to watch your sports team when it should be just very straightforward.
yeah.
I'm not even lying. I think like I spend like I think like my dad like because we buy Fubo because like Fubo has like because it's like local, so like I get like Yes Network, which is the Yankees network. I get ESPN. I get MSG, which I get all my local networks, but it's like $199 a month. So that's already a lot. We don't have Apple TV. So like when like Friday Night Baseball, because I was also gonna mention Apple TV, they have baseball. I have to pay for Apple TV if I want to watch the Yankees on Apple TV, which is annoying. And then I pay for ESPN Plus too, because like they don't stream some sport on TV. So it's like the amount of money like my dad spends like per month just on streaming services to watch sports is just like insane and I hate it.
Also, like, if
And that's how they get you with like the business. Because
Exactly.
they know like us, like we're like young generation now, and they know like, oh, these kids are online. They like to like stream online. So like, ooh, how can I get them? They
Exactly.
put all these different networks on these streaming lines just for you to pay for them because they know they're not going to watch regular cable TV. So that's
especially if you like don't support like okay, I shouldn't say don't support, but like if your team is not your local team, like it makes it that much harder.
It's
'Cause, like,
harder.
I get the local team, so I can get like the local like WNBA team, which would be like the Connecticut Sun, but like
Mhm.
I don't want to watch them. Like
Exactly. Like
like
for
it's
me,
so much difficult.
like for me, because I'm like in like New Jersey, like I can get all the New York teams. Like it's easy for me. But like if I want to watch like I don't know, like for instance, like Maddie, the Dodgers. I can't watch the Dodgers. I get blacked out. It's actually funny because I remember I was trying to watch a Devils game. I think they were playing I forgot which team they were playing, and they blacked it out for me. And I'm like, I'm in Jersey. Why is this blacked out for me? So
I've
it's
had
like,
that.
Yeah, it's just like it's so insane and like I guess it is kind of cool that it is like evolving, I guess, because like the I know the NFL just wait, who signed with oh no, it was the MLB, I'm sorry. MLB signed with Netflix for opening day or something like that. Because I
Yeah.
know because the Yankees Giants game is gonna be on Netflix on for opening day, which is like kind of cool. I think I'm right. Is that right?
Yes, that is right.
Yeah,
That is
I
right.
think so. I think
Hopefully so.
so.
No.
yeah.
I remember seeing it, but like I'm pretty sure that's it. So it's like it's cool that it's evolving, but it's also like they're literally taking all my pennies. They're taking all my money.
Literally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know Jackson and um Tucker, you guys talked about there's a game tomorrow in Texas. So who do you think is gonna win the Austin Pricks Grand?
So I said Oscar Piastri's gonna win. He's leading the championship right now, and he's been on a bit of a rough stretch of form recently, but I said in the podcast because we recorded like 2 days ago, but I don't know. I have a weird feeling he'll get back on it this week. I think he qualified because this makes F1 a bit more confusing, but there's what's called a
God.
sprint today, and it's basically a shorter race. That's not it's
It's
just
not
kind of
worth
an
as
extra
much.
race, honestly, is like the simplest way to put it, but it's like shorter in laps. So I think he qualified. Tucker, was it like P2 or P3?
Yeah, I think I remember, I didn't pay as much attention because it is a sprint, but I think that it was Verstappen on pole and then the two McLarens behind him.
Yeah,
So either
I
two
don't
or
know.
three.
So they looks like he's doing okay this weekend, but I don't know if that prediction's gonna pan out. Tucker,
Yeah, I went for his teammate. I went for Landon Norris. The great thing about this is that, we just did these predictions. You can go over to our YouTube channel. If you search at 305K, a racing podcast on YouTube, you can watch all these predictions. We have a lot more analysis of it. But I did go for his teammate. Um, the race tomorrow is actually pretty exciting. I really like the Austin track, and I think that it lends itself to very good racing. Um, but Max Verstappen has kind of surprised me a little bit, and it's not something that I can usually say because he has very high expectations. But he's come out and gotten pole again for the sprint race, and we'll see later if he can get pole for the real race as well. But he's done really well, and I think that it's going to be a battle between him and the two McLarens.
How do you how do F1 drivers like practice like their mindset and
Yeah,
stuff? 'Cause,
that's
like,
a good
I
one.
know
Yeah,
like
that is a good one. Yeah.
I know they have to like practice their driving and stuff like that, but like what
Hmm.
else do they like do?
I mean, the one thing this is I don't know if this kind of relates. The one thing that's very interesting about F1 drivers is they're incredibly media trained. So they barely say anything that's bad, like whenever they're not racing.
Yeah,
Mindset wise, I don't really know how it goes. They sometimes because you can hear whenever they talk in the car, because it's like kind of public, I guess you could say.
yeah, which
Um,
is another really interesting thing about the sport. I
oh,
think it's a
very,
very good job.
but that's about the most like in depth you'll get to their mindset because you can kind of hear how they talk during a race. And sometimes you'll get moments where they're like incredibly angry at another driver, but then they'll come out like after the race, they'll be like, it's a racing incident, it's part of it. We'll go over it in a debrief, like whenever we talk as a team, basically. And it's like you don't really get an insight into these guys like whenever they're
Yeah.
not almost in the car. Tucker, you want to
I will
expand
say
on that
for
though?
in terms of training, getting better at driving. Every race weekend there is 3 practice sessions generally, with an exception on sprint weekends. But I really don't want to talk about that because that just kind of muddies the waters. But they have 3 practice sessions where they get out on track and have an hour to drive around, kind of get used to the track. It also helps the teams get used to all the mechanisms in the car. There's a lot of things that go into strategy. They have to decide how much fuel they want to put in the car. They have to decide how much they want the car to have a lot of downforce compared to how much drag they can afford. You have a lot of mechanisms on the car where when the wind goes by, it helps the car stay to the ground. But at the same time, that slows the car down. So you kind of have to find the balance and it changes track to track. They have to figure out which tires are going to last how many laps and how their strategy evolves from that. And so they have 3 of those during a race weekend. Outside of that, it's a lot of work on a simulator for the drivers because, these cars are not easy to move around. And there's actually a regulated amount of time that you can actually drive the car on a track. And each team has a specific amount of time that they can spend on the track. besides that, it's a lot of work, on the sim. So they have these like very elaborate setups that pretty much mimic racing almost perfectly. And they'll have them in their house, they'll have them at their, the workplace for example, Ferrari and Maranello, where they'll have all these setups where they can practice driving. But it's all, computer generated.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, I had a question. I don't know much about F1, but I do know about like Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari this season. I'm just curious about your guys' opinions on this.
Tucker, you got it.
Yeah. So I'm a pretty big Ferrari fan, if you couldn't tell by the shirt. But the big thing about Lewis Hamilton is that he has had pretty much the greatest career of all time. I think it's hard to argue that. And people might argue whether or not he has the skills, whether he is the best driver of all time in terms of his performance. But he is quite old. He's 38 now. And this team for Ferrari, it's a very weird year for Formula One because the way that Formula One works is that they'll have a stretch of time and then they'll change the regulations for the car. So next year, there's this big regulation change where the cars are going to be about, I think, a half meter shorter. They're going to be very different in design because they change all the rules, the regulations, the formula, which is, where the sport gets its name for how the cars have to be built. And this year's the last year of the current formula before it changes in 2026. And the general strategy for the teams was pretty much across the board. We're going to see how it goes, but if it's not going well, there's no real reason to hang on to this year. And it makes more sense to just spend your funds, spend your time working on next year's car. And so Ferrari's kind of not done a lot of work this year on their current car. And as a result, it looks pretty bad. And Lewis Hamilton has definitely struggled compared to how he's usually driven. But his own threshold is so high that I think that it's kind of natural for this to happen. Um, and so next year will be pretty telling to me. But I must say that I'm kind of cynical and I don't have high hopes for him. I think that he'll probably continue to struggle um, and sort of lag behind Charles Leclerc because I think that Leclerc is a lot more in front of him.
Hmm. Um, I was gonna mention something. Wait. First off, I was wondering, have you been to any races at all or no?
I have not. This is something that I really wanted to do. It's hard because there are only 24 during the year, and I'd
Yeah.
say 22 of them, 23 of them probably are impossible to get to with like your schedule because they're around the world, they're over weekends. I'm going to try and go to a race next year during the summer. I have been to an IndyCar race in Florida, which is kind of the little brother of F1 that takes place all in the US. And I've visited a couple tracks, so I think that's pretty nice, but not during a racing weekend. Jackson's done the same. He went to the Italian Grand Prix track, just not
Oh
when they had a
wow.
race going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's one coming up in Vegas because I actually have a cousin who's going. I don't know how she ended up going. She knows nothing about F1 and she's not even a sports fan. So I don't know how she ended up going, but that's why I was wondering because she was like, what, because she, out of everyone, she started asking me about it and she was like, what is this? And I'm like, I can't tell you. Like, I can't help you. It
Why
was
is
really
she
funny.
going? She doesn't even know.
Her friend really likes it and like she
Okay.
invited her to go. Apparently they have like really good tickets. I don't know. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, my advice to her would be to figure out my email address and send them over. But beyond that, I don't know what I can help her with. So
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't help you. I think she got like a McLaren shirt or something. I don't even know what she got. She like
Honestly, tell her to watch Drive to Survive. Like that is honest some of
yeah,
the best
it's a
advice I
good
could
it's a
give
good
is
entry.
watch Drive to Survive.
yeah. Maybe I'll
Um,
tell her because like she was struggling. I was like, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
yeah. So
Okay. Um, since we were on the track of like people in F1, um, and racing, so what are your thoughts on Arvid Lindbald moving up to the Racing Bulls second seat?
Also, just a warning, we have 8 minutes.
yeah, I
Okay.
saw that.
Mhm.
Um, wait,
Jackson, you want this one?
who moving
Arvin
up?
Lindblad.
I didn't even hear. I don't even know who
Yeah,
that
so
is.
I can take this one. I think that he's a pretty good prospect. He was the youngest driver to ever win an F2 race. He's 17 right now. He's very young. And I think Racing Bulls are kind of trying to chase what they had with Max Verstappen in his early career. I mean, every team is. I mean, that's kind of inherent that you want Max Verstappen on your team. But I do think that it's an interesting era. Last year we saw Kimi Antonelli getting called into the Mercedes seat. This year, he became, I believe, the youngest or the second or third youngest to be on a podium. It does seem like people are shifting to younger and younger drivers. And I think Lindblad definitely has pace. It does worry me because that Red Bull team has been a little bit dangerous in terms of their promotion and demotion of young drivers. We saw Liam Lawson start the season in the Red Bull second seat and then get demoted after 3 races, I think. And they've put Yuki Tsunoda in that position. And there's some amount of talk about shifting that up too, where they might move Isaac Hadjar up next season. And I think that the management of young drivers, I think just about a third of the grid has driven for Red Bull, um, and have struggled and kind of moved down. Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, these guys were given the chance in the Red Bull seat when they were very young, and they struggled to hold on to it, especially with high pressure. So it does worry me that they're sending this kid who's quite young into this dangerous situation.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for us or anything?
Yeah, you could open up.
I mean, like, do you have like a vivid sport? Like, this could be like kind of hard to answer, but like, do you have a vivid moment when you were like at a sports game and you like really recognize like how much you love sports?
You know what? This like wait, I'm sorry that I had because like for me, it was like really funny because like my dad had like my dad he installs garage doors or whatever and someone he knew that like Seldom Doors was a season ticket member for the Devils and he gave my dad tickets and he told me we were going. I'm like, why would we go? I remember it so vividly. I'm like, why are we going to that? Like that's boring. That's lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a lie because I went, I freaking loved it, and then after that, I like really started watching the Devils, and like now I'm a season ticket member, so it's like I don't know why it like stuck with me because like it literally just I literally had no interest in sports, but then like I like really started watching it, really started getting into it. And I was like, I literally love this, and I think it really hit me. I wanted to do it when like I guess when like I don't really want to say like when the topic of college came up, but like when because I knew I always wanted to do journalism. I love writing, love English class. Like I love writing. Like it's always been my thing. So I knew I wanted to do something with that. And like once I really started getting into sports, I was like, I want to go into that industry. Because for me, like playing journalism, like it was like okay, whatever. It was really interesting to me. But when I thought about doing it like with sports, I was like that like sounds so much fun. So I was like that's when it kind of hit me. I was like, well, I'm probably gonna do something within the journalism aspect. And then like I kind of was like broadcasting seemed like really fun. So I was like, I think that's gonna be it. And then yeah, that ended up being
Yeah.
it.
My
For
story's kind of the same. Oh,
you
my
gotta go for
story's
you.
kind of the same, like Sabrina. I also got tickets to go to a UConn women's basketball game, and I had no idea. My parents surprised me, and like they literally surprised me like once we like got to the arena, like the courts and like the arena. But
They tell you you're
I
going to a
never
doctor's appointment? I do
they
not
didn't
know.
tell me, no, no. They told me they were like, we're just gonna drive somewhere you'll see like when we get there. Like I had no idea
Oh,
that I was going. And like I didn't really like watch them that much. I mean, I knew who they were. Obviously, I knew like the big names like Diana Taurasi went there, Sue Bird, obviously Paige Beckers at the time. So like I knew obviously the big names of them, but I went to the game and like it was just such a cool experience. But again, it's not something that I ever thought of like doing. And then I knew I kind of like Sabrina, I knew I wanted to do journalism and like broadcast. I actually wrote my college essay about this yesterday. How Good Morning America was my favorite show growing up, which is like kind of funny because like usually people would say like a Disney show or like Nickelodeon or something, but like I it was literally Good Morning America. And I always liked the pop culture side of things. Like I didn't like the weather or like the political stuff. Like I
Yeah.
like the pop culture side of news. And then I feel like the sports aspect never really clicked to me till I went to Syracuse because I went to the program and I thought I was just gonna I chose sports broadcasting program because I thought the sports element was gonna be more for like the fun aspect. Like I thought I was just gonna like major in like journalism like once I went to college. But then I went to Syracuse and like I really like realized that like sports could really be a thing that I can do because I don't really know that many sports as of now, but I think it's something I could work towards. So I feel like that program really helped enhance like what I want to do and make it so specific into like something I could see myself doing, which I did.
Yeah, for me it's a little different. Like growing up in LA, like I've always gone to sporting events. It's always been a part of like just the culture here. But I mean, I actually wrote this for my college essay. It really wasn't until like 2019. I even remember the date. It was November 27, 2019. And me and my family went to New Orleans to see. We were just in New Orleans, but the Lakers were playing, and I vaguely remember even why my attention drew to like Alex Caruso, who's my favorite basketball player, as all of you
Probably
know.
because of the reflection off his head, if I had to guess.
Wow.
I was not
Probably the most
expecting.
striking thing I can notice.
Please put
Anyways,
Yeah,
it
continue.
really wasn't until that night where I like was like, this is actually really fun to watch. Like it's not just something, it just really caught my eye. And then during COVID, I started getting really more into it. I actually started like a little report to my dad called the Maddie Report, where I would literally like report on games and write about it. So it's always been a part, like since then, it's always been a part of something I've really loved. And doing New York Times and Syracuse really helped me figure out like what I want like in the future for this.
Yeah, with me, I've been like fortunate to like play a sport my whole life. Since in third grade, so I play basketball, and then I've always been a season ticket holder for the Giants. So me and my family go every Sunday whenever they play. So I feel like I've always grown up watching sports and playing sports. So I feel like since sixth grade, I realized like, wow, like I really like love sports and love playing sports. So I'm like sports broadcasting sounds like fun to do because you still have that sports aspect, but you're gonna be like working in the industry. So I'm like, that sounds like an amazing idea. So ever since sixth grade, I've like held that dream in mind and I moved forward with it.
Really great talking to you guys. Super interesting. It's great to hear all your stories. Thank you for having us on. I just want to plug one more time. You can find us on Instagram or YouTube at 305K, a racing podcast. We come out with 2 episodes a week, previews, breakdowns of the races. Lots of talk, lots of jokes. So thank you for having us on.
And thank you for your time. As always, follow us at Sideline Sisters. We're on TikTok, Instagram, the whole nine. So thank you so much
And
for your time.
YouTube, because we're gonna post this
Oh,
on YouTube.
YouTube, yes.
So much.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye bye.